Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Games Industry Executive Summary. This is Casey, and with us, of course, we have the dashing Dave Thier.
That's me.
We don't know where Mano is. He kind of what is it called? Is it K? Not KIA.
No,
MIA.
not K. MIA.
MIA.
MIA. Hopefully not KIA.
Yes.
I guess he's off analyzing things,
I'm
as he
sorry. I'm
tends to
trying
do.
to get my acronyms in order.
Yeah.
The American lingo. Dave, what are you up to these days? Have you had the chance to look at Clair Obscur, the only
I
RPG
have.
that matters these days?
Yeah, that's what matters. And you know what? I have some thoughts.
Okay, hit
Yeah.
me.
Okay, cool. My first thought is that it's good. So that's crucial. That's the foundation of the other thoughts. And then I think for me it has really put to bed the age-old debate: is JRPG a genre or is it an acronym for Japanese RPG? And I think that it is really difficult to argue that this game is not a JRPG. It's JRPG, and yet it is not Japanese. And not only is it not Japanese, it is highly French. So I think that is really that's where I'm coming down on that debate now. JRPG is a genre of games which are primarily produced in Japan, but not exclusively, including this one produced in France.
Um, I, my takeaway is I'm with you, Dave. It's good. It's really good. And I'm having a hard time trying to kind of nail down what it is that is special about this game versus your, and I don't want to call it the average JRPG. Maybe we should have a new acronym for this, FRPG.
FRPG, yeah, yeah.
F for the French, of course.
Je suis RPG.
Yes. But well, for you, okay. So if I ask you this, for you, what is the things that are that is sticking out? What is it that
Uh,
makes you think go this is what I am what I feel is special about it.
so it does a really good job in narrative pacing, which is a real struggle of this genre overall. It puts you right into it. It doesn't do lore dumps. It unveils things slowly. It has some really compelling characters and some great visual design. It trims a lot of the fat out of a genre that is known for its fat, and it moves in a really unexpected way. And that also that comes into play with the parry system and all that as well, where it's moving, it's active, and you don't feel like you're wasting your time.
You're engaged
Yeah,
in
exactly.
the combat.
Visuals are incredible.
Yeah.
And it has a really unified sense of itself and unified sense of aesthetics and style. I think that I would connect the success of this to like the success of the Yakuza games in the West.
Yep.
That I think for a long time, uh, video games are sort of the first natively international industry. It's always been international. And for a long time, we sort of developed this kind of stateless aesthetic where everyone was making things that looked very similar, and you could call it stateless, or you could call it sort of all these kind of manifestations of American cultural imperialism.
Yeah.
And now I think that people are becoming more interested in things that have distinct identity. And in this case as well, something like Yakuza, it's a distinct national cultural identity, and you feel that, and that's important to who they are. And I think I like that. I think that's fun. And I think it's not really a coincidence that we're seeing this as sort of American power is waning. And I love it. I want to see more plays. Because originally this game, their first pitch or the first thing they were working on was based in Victorian England, which is a
Oh.
very that's another very kind of international setting.
Yeah.
You could make a Victorian England game. People know about it. People make it. Uh, and instead, they took it back and they made something that was very much that I feel like only they could have made, and that's what makes it work.
Closer to home.
Yeah,
And you know what? This I think what you just said. It feels like it's almost is Rockstar an English studio originally?
Scottish.
Scottish.
Yeah,
Obviously, those people made games that took place in the U.S.
yeah, and I think that the GTA series is like the best example of like the stateless creations of American cultural thing. Like I definitely had the argument with people like, oh, like the GTA is such a like this is such an indictment of or not indictment of America. They would say like look at this example of American culture with GTA, and I'm
Exactly.
like, well, Scottish culture for one thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's not forget about that. And yeah, it's stateless, but it's based in America, and it kind of flows out of that.
Exactly. The American, and especially with the latest trailers that we saw, the Americanism in these
Yeah,
in that or their culture.
and yeah, those games are very much about
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
Definitely. I do find it funny that these they're great at making these expansive, incredibly engaging open worlds, and yet they really can only do these three cities apparently.
Of course, of course. But just going back to Claire, then I feel like
Hmm.
that's the point here: is that they based it on something very close to home. And if we talk about Japanese developers, I mean, they make games for themselves, and they make games based on their own culture and country, and like the environments that you see in the games are based on that. And I think that's what kind of like if it's the Persona series, if it's the I'm gonna try the Yakuza series, I feel like these are elements that make them successful because
Yeah,
they are just genuine to where they come from. They understand it, and they have a really good way of explaining it to others, or maybe it transcends. I don't know how it transcends to other cultures, but we just enjoy it.
yeah, and people recognize something that needs to be itself. A Scottish studio could not make a Yakuza game. It would be really weird.
I'm sure. Um, when
Valheim was kind of like that.
Yeah,
Valheim's a Swedish studio,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
very like a lot of people have made Viking games, right? Ubisoft made a Viking game, but for them that identity was much more closely held, and I think much better realized.
Have you played Unravel?
A long time ago,
A long
I
time
don't
ago.
remember it that well, but yeah.
Yeah. If you remember the presentation, the first time they revealed and showed that game, they had the game director, and I forgot his name now. But what's interesting about that, as an example, as yet an example of a studio that is in the very top north of Sweden,
Mhm.
and they made the game of Unravel in their own culture and environment. So the woods, the flowers you see, what are the creatures you see in the game come from that environment, and that's
Yeah,
probably why it felt genuine to so many people. Gameplay wise, with Clair Obscur, I think that is also a major takeaway here, that the RPG mechanics, oh sorry, the fighting mechanics, or the what are they called again? The when you have the time based,
the parry and dodge mechanics,
yeah, but I was thinking more of the time. Are they called when
active battle, something
not
like that.
active paddle, when it's your time and then you wait for the enemy to attack?
Oh, turn
Turn
based,
based. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. The
two
turn
words.
based fighting mechanics um, make you actively be part of it, instead of just like oh, okay, I choose this thing, I wait for my turn, I choose that thing, and so
Mm.
on. Here,
And there's the free aiming as well.
yeah,
That's yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. You're actively playing the game, and the skill of timing your it felt like a Guitar Hero at some points as
Oh
well.
yeah, yeah. Parry games are definitely like rhythm games in disguise, like always. And I think that holds true for a lot of Souls likes,
Yep.
but it's just even more so with the parry game.
And I chose the easiest setting, and it's still challenging in my
So
opinion.
maybe I should turn mine down a little bit because I want to parry everything and I am not doing so.
Yeah, well, there you go then. Where how far have you reached Act 2?
No, I have not.
Okay, so I won't spoil anything. And I'm not sure. I'll just leave you with this, which is because you don't know when it's going to happen. But before Act 2, there's something huge that happens, and I think it's shocking. I'm not sure if it's going to stay that way for the entire of the game, but if
Hmm.
it does, I was like, holy shit! Okay, that's very early. in doing that thing. So I'll
I think it
leave it.
might be the thing that I'm so annoyed got spoiled to me, because like I was just like, I don't know, I was just like trying to find the trailer or some shit. I can't remember what I was looking for, and I just like typed Clair Obscur into YouTube, and I got a whole bunch of things about Goot. Well, I shouldn't even say that.
Oh, so you know about
Yeah,
it?
I know. Yeah, which I'm so annoyed by because like,
Wow. Okay.
come on, YouTubers, stop it.
Yeah.
So, but luckily, I'm still excited to see it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm pretty immune to spoilers overall.
Um, I know this is becoming almost like a Clair Obscur episode, but I think I can't stop talking about it. And obviously, we're looking at it on screen at the same time. Um, Story. Do you feel like it's? I feel like it's. This is the first time. Like it's an original. I feel like it's unique. It's a bit different. Um, and then there's another thing, an element in the beginning, or I started thinking about it more and more, which is it's a almost a dominated female cast.
Yeah, that's
But
definitely true.
but it's not one of those cases where like they go, hey, look, we have females in our game. It's just like it's just part of the story, part of the world,
Yeah.
and they don't make it like they're not virtue signaling, which I really like.
Yeah, well, it's always, I feel like that's always sort of the core of what people are talking about when they talk about the Bechdel test. You know that? The
No,
Bechdel
no,
test.
tell me.
It's like from an old, like, lesbian cartoonist who has an episode where the two characters are talking, and she says that she only wants to watch a movie where there are two women who talk about something besides a man.
Okay.
And I feel like that's sort of you're talking about a similar thing where it's like their roles in the characters are in the story are not either defined in relationship to a man or defined by their gender. They're
Exactly.
the story.
Exactly. But what about the entire idea of this painteress and the tree and your like the destination? I feel like that you touched a bit about it in the beginning of in the form of I feel like talked about trimming the fat, right? It's like it's really clear what the goal is. It's
Yeah,
really clear what the journey is. We're going on this journey together to do this thing, and as you travel, there is more and more that get revealed, which I feel like is amazing.
yeah, and it makes sense. You're learning it alongside the characters. They've never been to these parts of the world either, and it just works so well from that
Yeah.
perspective. And again, it's very JRPG, right? You're going to go. Your goal is to go kill a god.
Yes, I got a lot of feelings from Chrono Trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Like very early on. Hey,
Yeah.
stupid. Here is the thing. And speaking of stupid, there is no. Have you noticed there's no HUD when you're traversing the world?
Oh, I guess I haven't. Yeah.
There is no like go
No.
here, do that,
Oh, that. Yeah. Certainly.
right?
Yeah. There's no quest markers or anything like that, and and you don't miss them because, again, the game is very lean, so you know where you're supposed to go.
I want to almost pull up. Do you remember Final Fantasy 14?
I do. I do.
Did you play it?
Wait. 14. 14 is the MMO, right?
Sorry.
14 is the MMO. You're 15.
No, is it 15?
Oh no, is it 14? No, yeah. No,
14,
I'm wrong.
14.
14 is the road trip one.
With the what's her name? Lightning, I believe her name is.
Oh no.
The main, is it?
I thought she. Which one is 14?
I think we need to do some research here. God damn. But I guess what I was. Yes, sorry. I think it's 13.
13. Yeah, 14
yes.
is the road trip one.
No,
15 is
yeah.
the one that just came out. Yeah.
Which one is the MMO? No, 14
Yeah,
is MMO,
12.
right? 15 is the road trip.
15 is the road trip. So 16 just came out?
Give me a second.
Yeah,
here.
15 is the road trip. 16 just came out.
Yeah, 14 is the MMO. Sorry.
14 is the
What I
MMO.
wanna talk
Yeah, okay.
about-
That's, yeah.
This is how bad it is. And I think that this is a testament to why we cannot remember these things.
Because we're not paying much attention.
Well, I think this is during the. It's like 13 and 15 is probably, and I don't know. I haven't played 16, so I can't judge that. But I feel like this is like the not the downfall necessary, but it's a it's a what is it called? Like, give me a what's the not the apex? What's the opposite of apex? I need English help here, man.
Nadir would be the opposite of Apex.
Okay, I want to show you this. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it for you. But if you haven't played Final Fantasy 13, um, the first 10 hours of that game is basically, and I'm not sure if you remember this meme or this image. It's basically a straight corridor. 10 hours. Really, I'm not
Yeah,
kidding.
that's a lot.
10 pure hours of a straight corridor. And then there are two things. One of it is like, after the 10 hours, the world opens up. And that's something they were like, trying to defend. But also, the other thing is, during this entire corridor, you know how like, you're in this world, and then you see like you see that you can like maybe take a left turn or a right turn, and then you take that turn, and then maybe there's a monster, you kill a monster, you get like, there's a chest or there's something there. In this corridor that I just showed you, you make a left turn and there's nothing there. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Now this was 10 years ago or more even. But I feel like this is an example of something that Clair Obscur said no. If you're taking a detour, or if you're going, taking a left turn or whatever, we're gonna reward you. You're gonna find something cool. You're
You'll
gonna do
find
something.
and you'll also gonna find pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like it'll be very clear. Like this was a side path. You grab the thing, go back to main path.
With no UI.
Yeah,
With
definitely.
no UI.
Really, really well done.
Have you? There's only one thing I haven't figured out yet. Have you managed to change any wardrobe stuff?
I have not, but I'm pretty sure I saw the option in which to do so.
Okay, I think
I think it's like it's related to when you're leveling them up.
Okay.
It's around there.
Okay. Any final words on Clair Obscur Expedition 33?
Excited to get back to it.
Me too. I'm hoping it's not too long. I don't know how much.
I don't think it's supposed to be.
Okay. I don't know how much I've spent. I might have spent, like, I would say, if I had to guess, maybe 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many acts there are, but I'm hoping it's not going to overstay its welcome. Okay. Dave, should we
That's me. Let's do some
move
news.
into the
What
new
we got?
and discuss stuffs? According to Manu, it's a boring week, and I told him, "Hey,
it was so boring that he didn't
show up.
Want to come? Yeah.
Yes, there you go." So I said, "Okay, if it's a boring week, that's a good thing, because next week we're going to Nordic Game. Hopefully, we can record face to face. Okay, and if we do that, then it's going to be an upswing after this quote unquote boring week." Okay, Dave.
Okay.
Number one item on the list.
Number one of the boring week.
Yes. Warhammer 40k. Okay. Space Marine. 2 devs give modders the game's internal editor to create anything they can dream of, including custom campaigns.
Cool.
What can we learn here?
Modding's good. Modders are your friends. This is a large level of access. And I think that the more you cooperate with modders is really only good for you.
I love this thing here where it says modders now, or they support modders' attempt to create 12-player MMO-like raids.
Interesting. I would love to see that.
I've started. I'm not sure if you follow, but I've started to read more and more about modding these days. And it does feel like, and we might have an article coming up on the. Let me see here. It's on the 27th.
Yeah.
With your monthly takeaway, talking about modding, and some of the most successful, biggest games in the world, Counter-Strike, Dota,
PUBG.
are mods that became big franchises or games.
Yep.
Do you think we will see more developers opening up? There was another story. Do you remember that other story that we had like a couple months ago? Somebody else.
Yeah, I feel like someone did some big modder support. Yeah. I mean, and then you say, like even GTA. Obviously, GTA itself is not a mod, but mods have been a hugely important part of continuing success of those games, and they're bolstering their community. Obviously, Bethesda games, mods are huge there. It's two things, right? One, it's more content. Who doesn't like more content? And it's community. You get you get people involved and committed and involved with your game. And if they want to make stuff, let them make stuff.
I feel like it's an opportunity for these companies. If you remember, I think maybe it was Skyrim or Oblivion. I forgot which one it was that started, or maybe it was Fallout. No, I think it was Fallout 4 even, where
Yeah,
it
the
allowed,
charging.
yeah. So opening that up as a potential business and potential, revenue stream.
Yeah, that's always had a tricky. That's always been tricky because then you're starting to draw lines between because traditionally these things are amateur and it's important to who they are, and then some of then you might have people making low effort crap, throwing it out there and trying to there's a lot of tricky implementation
Mm,
sides to that. From a foundational philosophical level, it makes sense. Let people make stuff, let them sell it, let them be able to support themselves if they
yeah.
can by making stuff. But there are definitely a lot of tricky implementation things there, and that's why I don't think we haven't seen the equivalent of a Bethesda game with a large paid modding store.
I think it's like almost like an exponential curve. If you do open up your platform big enough, you could potentially make a lot of revenue through the mods if you just have the right licenses for those people as well to operate in. It's
I mean,
almost,
Roblox
yeah,
is
exactly. Thank
basically
you.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe have a better split than Roblox for
yeah,
your modders, but
yeah.
Uh, okay, Dave. Um, so that was the only highlight we had on the newsletter today. I'll jump over to the news.
Okay.
The number one item on the news: Ubisoft delays multiple upcoming games. And then it says here, as part of the Ubisoft's latest earnings report, the company announced that it's delaying multiple upcoming games. Ubisoft did not say what these games are, but noted that they are some of the biggest productions. I'm not sure if this is a good thing or.
I don't think it's a good thing. Probably. I think the bell is tolling here.
Is this maybe a strategic move? Because if we remember, and I know there
I
was
think that my
resistance.
guess, if I and this would be my guess, is they're trying to juice up some earnings to sell.
Is that
So they're
that's the other venture, right?
yeah.
I'm not sure if we have we read anything about that venture being greenlit or not. I know there was like some investor, big investor, was either suing
Tencent.
somebody or doing something related to.
Well, they were gonna basically license out like everything, and they were gonna hold on to their core IP, but they're gonna sell pretty much everything else.
Yep. I'm surprised. Are we not surprised, or should we not be surprised that somebody just comes up and I'm going to look at the Ubisoft stock price, um,
Oh yeah.
but right now the value, the market cap is 1.27.
It lost
So
5% today from
yeah,
that. I'm assuming. Well, that news would have been earlier. So they
maybe
had
there's not,
a real spike down in here. Interesting. It's
but
lost 54% this
yes,
year.
I should probably share this at the same time. So
Yeah.
this is what's confusing to me, Dave, and maybe it's a Manu question. I'm not sure. I'm just confused over why somebody just like if it's Embracer or if it's let's say I forgot the Saudi one. Good lord, uh,
Yeah.
Zabi.
Yeah.
I'm confused over because they bought companies with less IPs for a lot more. So I'm
Yep.
confused.
Well, I think that the structure of that other deal they're doing points to that is that Ubi is probably being tight with those IPs. That they, this is also like, I'm pretty sure the Gimos still have, they might have enough shares to make decisions. And I think they don't want to lose it.
Trying to figure out what they're, and I don't even know how to spell that, but
14,
14%.
20.5% of voting rights.
Oh
So
wow,
that's a
okay.
lot. Obviously, that's not 51%, but that is a lot.
But it does feel like somebody putting up a case to go a different direction. should have an easy time doing so.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that one. I'll move over to the next item, which I didn't even know existed. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra delayed. Have you heard about this game before?
Nope. I am not.
It's been delayed and will not launch in 2025. Publisher Skydance has announced that the game is now coming in early 2026. Now I'm extremely curious to see some footage. Let's see if we can get some footage, me and you. Trailer. And just quickly before we look at anything, I'm going to show you a story trailer. I'm trying to find you a gameplay trailer. Have we had any good Marvel type games at all? I mean,
there's
apart
Rivals.
from Snap and Rivals, right?
Then Midnight Suns.
Midnight Suns. What's that?
It was like a tactical turn-based game.
Okay.
People like that.
But single player, well, we have Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's Marvel.
That's really good.
Yeah. It's a little different from like traditional Marvel because obviously the ownership rights were confused at the time that the first game was made. But yeah, I mean, aren't they also making? Maybe this is the Black Panther. Someone's making a Black Panther thing. I guess this is probably it, right?
There is a Black Panther game, right, as well in development. Yeah. Okay. I mean, there's no gameplay in this thing, but it does look cool.
Yeah, we got Black Panther, we got Captain America. They're fighting for some reason. So cool. Whatever. Who cares?
Is it adamantium, the metal?
Yeah.
Okay. That everybody keeps finding everywhere.
Yeah, it's always the classic video game, video games too. Classic comic book problem. That's like Superman is, he has a weakness to kryptonite.
Yeah.
So this is super rare. He's incredibly strong, but he has one weakness, and you're like, damn, there sure does seem to be a lot of kryptonite around here, doesn't there?
I mean, I guess they painted themselves in a corner, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. My dad is actually like an expert in. He's an English professor and has done a lot of studies in like 30s comic strips, and like his descriptions of the Superman comic just like didn't work before they developed kryptonite. Like they just couldn't really. They just had a problem. It's like, well, yeah, he's gonna win, isn't he?
Yep. Or if he leaves Earth, I guess he will find people who are, matched.
Yeah. Well, and if he leaves Earth, he doesn't have the power of the yellow sun. That's what makes him.
So he just becomes a normal person.
Yeah. Or
wait a second. He can actually fly in space, right?
Yeah. I guess the yellow sun is still there.
Now I'm confused.
You get even more of it, I guess.
Okay. There you go. Do you follow Invisible?
No, I've been trying. I've learned a little bit more about it recently. It seems interesting.
You should check it out because I feel like they didn't necessarily like. There's no kryptonite, but the superpowers are very balanced once you also leave like Earth. It continues, and everybody has those other powers. But when you see two entities with the same background, they're very matched. And I feel like they brought some more like balance to the equation, so to say. Okay, I'll move over to the next item. Tekken 8 replaces their. And I'm not sure how.
Yeah, people got pissed off. That's all I know. Okay. I know that people got really pissed off about Tekken 8.
This story, I'm not sure how credible that is because I'm not sure how realistic. Like when you say Tekken 8 replaces their entire balance team, and that could be one person or.
Yeah, it depends on what you consider a balanced team.
Yes,
right.
After
is it the people who like make and animate the new moves, or is it just the people that like tweak the numbers or whatever?
Despite being very well received at launch, Tekken 8's review scores plummeted across all platforms after the Season 2 update released with over 100. Wow. They released Season 2 with over 1,500 changes, many of which didn't function as intended and literally broke the game. And then, of course, the developers tried to fix things, but things are not really going as they should be. And then now this story is telling us that Tekken 8 brings back core developers to fix Season 2. I wonder how... I mean, I'm sure there are core developers, because this reads to me that they've split and I'm not sure how true that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's obviously some kind of structural wonk happening that we are not fully aware of.
Um, Here's what is interesting. I'm gonna check Tekken 8 on SteamDB and see how. Oh wow, 50% on the reviews.
You don't like that. You don't want to see that.
Um, well, interesting enough, there are some games that are successful at this rate.
Yeah,
But let's look at the charts instead. Um, and they are, you know,
yeah, they're. hmm
it looks pretty okay. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not.
it doesn't look bad.
Yeah,
Looks like a pretty normal chart, really.
and I'm assuming most of those players that are actually active in the Tekken community are console people. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
okay, Dave.
that's right. Okay.
I'll move. You know what? Speaking of fighting games,
Speaking of them,
do you feel like fighting games still have like if we go back 20 years ago, fighting games were pretty big.
hmm
What
20.
do
You
you
might actually need to go back a little further than that.
Okay, let's say 25 then. I give you.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
25
launch of
years.
the PS2, that
Yes,
kind of
that was
time.
the
Yeah,
last one that probably was really. I mean, no, I would say 20 because you still had a lot of Street Fighter. What's that one called? The third one, Third Strike.
yeah, and Dead or Alive was making waves
Yeah,
around that time as well.
absolutely. But I guess what I wanted to talk to you about is Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves.
hmm
Uh, SNK's CEO will transition to an advisory role. That's the story here. And my understanding is that that game did not perform that well, unfortunately. But I'm also confused about the expectations. Like considering the fighting genre, there are really tough competitors out there. And then the other thing is, um, the other aspect of it is that SNK, my understanding is haven't released a proper fighting game in 20 or 20-ish years. We can find the numbers on that. Um, but do you have any thoughts about fighting game genre or the why they couldn't find that foothold?
I think, out of an abundance of caution, we should talk about something else.
Okay, I mean, hey, we can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you know how it goes sometimes.
I mean, hey, my takeaway. You remember a while ago they had. I'll go to it actually, which is they had Ronaldo, the football player,
hmm
become a character, which for me is completely what is it called? Like anti. What's I'm today? I'm just here to help you. Help me teach me English.
Right,
The antithesis. What would you say? Something that doesn't
and
belong.
yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say antithesis. I would need to check to see if this is the electrician. I'll take it on call though. It's a live call. Hold on.
Okay, go for it. I guess.
Hi, this is
While
Dave.
do you want to mute yourself?
No.
No. Okay. What?
Uh, yes, the electric. Yes. Yeah.
I guess we're just firing on
Yeah.
all cylinders today.
You can come by today. I can be around.
Okay. Um,
Right now? Yeah, yeah, that would be fine. 30 minutes or so. Yeah. Okay. A couple of lights. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Great. Thank you. Okay. Bye.
we are
Okay.
anything but professional today.
Exactly. I thought everyone would want to know about that.
Well, who called you?
The electrician.
The
And
electrician.
we've been trying.
You were
This guy,
mentioning.
he's always like, I can book you on in like 2 months or 30 minutes, and you're like, well, both of these are kind of difficult, but let's go with 30 minutes.
You know what's funny about this, Dave? You were talking about an electrician. and I thought
Hmm.
you were mentioning a character in SNK.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no, he is a real electrician
there you
who
go.
is going to come look
And
at
maybe a
my.
future character in SNK.
Maybe you never know.
Yes. Okay, I'll move over from fighting games. I myself, like, just a note here on SNK. I love the company. I love the collaborations they've done. I love a lot of the characters and games they've made. I just feel like setting expectations. And I know SNK. We talked about this before. SNK is owned by either by a Saudi company or by Zavi. Forgot which one it was now.
Hmm.
But I feel like tempering expectations. And by the way, here it says it has sold 6,300 copies on PlayStation 5 in its first 2 weeks of release. And it's just, I think, why would you think that that game would, sell more than, let's say, a million? But um, operating on that level and trying to hit that audience, and obviously Ronaldo did not help. Um, I feel like SNK should go back to licensing their characters to other fighting games. Um, if that could happen, I'm down. Shut up and take my money. Let's do it. I'm also still looking for Street Fighter versus SNK 3. Hopefully, wasn't that a game that they announced as well? I'm gonna check that out. Versus SNK 3. Maybe I'm just making that up. No, it is actually coming sooner than you think. That's where I think SNK can make its money. So hopefully they have success there. Okay, I'll move over to the last item of the news. Destiny 2 lead insists defy. I can't read. My English today is terrible.
No
Destiny
problem.
2 lead insists divisive Star Wars inspired expansion Renegades is in canon for the Destiny universe as players worry the MMO is pulling a Fortnite. We spoke about this before, and I am still confused why Destiny is doing any kind of partnership at all. I mean, their world is unique, self contained, all that stuff. Dave, what can we learn here?
I mean, people. There is money to be had in partnerships, and there's kind of no way around that. There are compromises to be made, most definitely, but there is money to be made, and I think that's why you're seeing so many people do it. It's generating like there are people reading about it now that would not have been reading about it otherwise. There are people interested in it that or not been, and like that's just kind of how it goes. Obviously, there are compromises to be made, as you say, with the fiction and all that, and you just have to. There's a danger, I think it's also clear why people try to do it.
When it says rest assured, everything in Renegades, which is the DLC, I think, is in canon for Destiny Universe. Does that mean like it's part of the real story?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
yeah. That means that like it exists inside the fiction.
Oh, okay. Now I see. It says here
Yeah,
we're leaning into the aesthetic, tone, and vibe of Star Wars to tell a Destiny story with Destiny characters. I'm just confused. I don't even know how Star Wars or Disney allowed this, to be honest with you. But okay, so I feel like partnerships are cool and they should happen. We talked about the fighting genre, perfect
yeah,
space. Like Capcom
yeah,
versus
and a
SNK,
classic old place to do it. Yeah,
it's amazing. It's like the dream. We want to see this character fight this character and see who wins, right?
yeah,
Here, I'm engrossed in this 10-year journey of, I don't know, figuring out what's happening in the universe in this world. And then all of a sudden, this other character from somewhere else that has no relationship to this thing and has its own lore is showing up. It just feels a bit off, and I'm not the least confused about why the Destiny community is maybe reacting to this.
yeah. And I could see why they would have concerns, but it makes me curious
Yep.
how it's going to work. And I can't say it doesn't make me curious. So
Do you remember Metal Gear Solid 3 with the monkey edition thing?
no, I don't.
That one was interesting from the perspective of it was like a game mode.
Hmm.
And Snake is just like going through a map, like finding the monkeys. Um, and Metal Gear is a very serious series and has its like super ultra fans.
I mean, it's
Uh,
serious and it's not. I mean, it's Kojima. I think that is the thing. It has the sort of ability to support wackiness. It always has.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I feel like this thing that they did, I think a couple of years ago, obviously, it was very self-contained, trying to find it for you. Escape from the Jungle, and it's also the monkey ape
Yeah,
escape.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But it wasn't canon. It wasn't like part of the mainline Metal Gear series in any shape or form. And it was, and I think the key here that I'm seeing, it's wacky. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's not serious, and that's why it works.
Yeah, exactly.
While I feel like the Destiny one might not hit that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the tone is going to be really important to figuring out how it functions.
Yep.
Destiny does have comedy, definitely. It's gotten sillier over the years.
Okay.
Or really, the Destiny, the very first release was super super serious, but they started to lighten it up. Uh, they started to lighten up after that.
When you say lighten up, do we mean like Borderlands lighten up, or like
No,
no?
just like let the characters be a little bit silly,
Okay.
just a little. Put a bigger. Eventually, they give a bigger microphone to Nathan Fillion, who is great for that kind of thing, and then Lance Reddick, may he rest in peace. He's got this super deep, super serious voice, which means he can deliver jokes very effectively.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they did that well.
What's the name of that actor, by the way? The one who played the voice for the Ghost, the original one, Peter
Peter
Dinklage.
Dinklage, yeah.
Is this worth anything, Dave? This Ghost that I have here behind
Does
me.
it does it speak with Peter Dinklage's voice?
It does.
Interesting.
Yes.
Maybe, I don't know. Could be.
Okay. Okay. Dave, I'll move over to the next item here, which is
All
not
right.
surprising because we have seen this happen over the past 2 years. But I would love to hear your thoughts about this and what it means in relationship to Asian investment and publishing. So NetEase um, restructures the company with layoffs and studio closure amid profit push. What are we supposed to learn here, Dave? I mean, the money hasn't dried up necessarily.
Hmm.
It
Well,
says
I think
here,
a big company like that is basically doing one or two things.
yeah,
They're trying to grow or they're trying to make money. And when they're trying to grow, they're going to be buying a lot of stuff and they're going to be starting up a lot of things. When they're trying to make money, they're going to be doing the opposite of that and only doing the things that are proven.
unfortunately, biz dev people, um, they stopped working for NetEase, I think 6 months ago. And that's kind of like where the bells. And obviously, if you remember, there was a story about many studios, like Western studios,
Yeah, they were
who
cutting a lot of
did
ties.
get, yeah, who did get like investments from NetEase,
Hmm.
did not get any follow ups on that investment.
Yeah.
And just to be very clear for the audience, when I say follow up, I mean like they already paid them the first round, but they said no to further investments.
Yeah, they basically jumped out at the end of their contractual obligations.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I'll move over to the next item. Borderlands 4's price is a mystery, even to Randy Pitchford. What's going on here? Is this like the game of let's see what happens with the $80 thing, or what's
Yeah,
going on?
that's definitely. I mean, like for a really long time, no one had to think about what to charge for your AAA game, and now all of a sudden, people have to think about it. And you're like, well, maybe 80. I don't know. And I think that's everyone's just been kind of thrown for a loop by that.
What's your thoughts about where this is going to go for AAA games, generally speaking?
Mm, I don't think they're going to be able to push 80 across the board. I think they're going to stick at 70 because of Clair Obscur. You know,
$50,
40. I think.
40. Maybe I paid 50 in Europe, so
Yeah, yeah.
is it 40 in the US?
Maybe I don't know, but anyways,
Yeah.
cheaper. And like AA and indie games are get better and more advanced every year. The middleware allows smaller teams to do things that were only the territory of AAA games for a really really long time. No one buying a box off the shelf who doesn't follow the industry is going to see the difference between Clair Obscur and a traditional AAA game. They're just going to see the one that's cheaper.
I love that you just mentioned that, by the way, because Clair Obscur is a AAA game, in my opinion.
Sure.
Or rather, when you play it, it presents like a AAA game.
Yeah. Well, I think that, for a long time, these definitions were really fuzzy. And I think that we're actually coming back to the original definition of AAA games, which is that they come from AAA publishers.
Ah,
And that is really the only difference now.
got
The
it.
games don't look any different.
Do you know anything about the budget, by the way, for that game?
I do not.
I would love to know what the budget is because there's also another misconception, by the way, which is, oh yeah, it's a 40-person development team, which is true to a certain extent because that might be the core development team.
Yeah, and then people are contracted, and there's code
Like I think it was
and also middleware counts too,
yes,
right?
yes. I think the total count was like at 400 people
Yeah,
total.
I mean, which is still it's a lot,
Yeah,
but
absolutely,
it's a beautiful,
absolutely.
fully realized game. So
Do you think that game should have been priced more?
it could have been definitely.
So that was a missed opportunity because you had a good game. When you
I
have
mean,
a good game,
you'll never know you'll never know the counter situation. So it's possible that it would not have caught at a higher price, and that's one possibility, definitely.
when people hire you, Dave, to do a mock review,
Hmm.
shouldn't that mock review play as basis for the game's pricing?
It should be part. I mean, that's more build evaluation earlier in the process because you want to know the pricing before you start your marketing
Yeah.
campaigns. So, I mean, that's definitely something that we talk about, and that's something we try and think about. And the quality of the game is an important part of it, but it's not the only part. I mean, you charge as much as you can, and some of it's kind of just gut feeling. Like you look at something, you're like, you charge too much for this, people are going to balk. So most of it, a lot of it's comps. But yeah, that's there's never going to be any one right answer. It's just going to be about trying to figure it out.
So if we're gonna play a crystal ball game here, Borderlands 4, what do you think they're gonna price that for?
70.
70. Okay. I have the feeling. Well, for me, I think it's really important about is it better than the last one? And that should set
I
the tone.
don't think that's the main question, really.
Yeah, really?
Not with this one.
Okay.
No. I think it's just kind of about what the world looks like right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I mean, what competitors are out there as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Brace yourself here, Dave.
Okay,
Sony considers further price rises as it braces for 500 million tariffs impact. But I thought the tariffs were done. Isn't
They're
that
not
settled?
done. They're down to 30%, which is not nothing.
Okay, so that it will still impact.
Yeah.
This is mainly U.S. people. I mean, this is pounds here, not dollars. But I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's just because it's Eurogamer, I guess, but also like the U.S. casts a super long shadow over the operations of any company like this. So like, you could just change in the U.S., or you can try and have other territories kind of pay for it together. There's a lot of different ways to think about it.
Interesting here, it says that the PlayStation 5 maker said it had 3 months of PS5 consoles stockpiled in the US. That's very.
Yeah, no, that's the 90-day pause, as Trump said. I mean, not that that didn't impact China,
Got it.
but
Okay. Let me see here. Again, another item here on PlayStation and Sony. Just months after reportedly canceling 2 live service games in development, Sony announces a new PlayStation Studio with a live service game in development. Okay, I thought
yeah,
PlayStation had killed the live service.
I mean, not
project.
all of it, I guess. I think they had obviously dramatically scaled back what had been a major initiative, but they're continuing to do so.
What was the last game that came out or is coming out? Oh yeah, that was the Bungie one. What is it called again? Marathon. Have you read anything or heard about anything or tried it out yourself?
No, I have not.
No.
I mean, I've seen the trailer and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's if it controls as well as Destiny, that's a big thing. Destiny is the best feeling first person shooter on the market.
Yeah, that type of gameplay. I mean, it has some Halo background to it as well.
Yes,
It does
definitely.
feel like it's a Bungie trait. They own that type of gameplay.
Mm.
Um, and I heard Marathon is going to be a premium title, multiplayer only. I'm not sure how true that is, but I feel like, do we see an opportunity for them to actually succeed with that title?
I mean, you have definitely talked about the trouble with extraction shooters, and I do think that's going to be tough. It's going to, I mean, really, yeah, something comes to you like Destiny, you just don't know until you've played it.
Got it.
If it's got that sauce, it's got that sauce.
I think that you articulated really well there. I agree with you. That sauce. Okay. Moving over to the rumors. GTA 4 remaster may be in the works.
I don't want to play fucking GTA 4 anymore. I don't like that game.
You don't like your cousin? What's his name now?
Yeah,
Is it Roman? I forgot his name.
Roman. Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like that was the game that had the most weird conflict between like a main character that drives a delivery truck down the sidewalk and then is also like conflicted about violence. And they had a lot of unresolved narrative questions in that made it a very strange game to play. With five, like it's a lot clearer. Like we have some psychopaths doing psychopath stuff,
Okay. I mean, yeah. It's
and
all
then we
about
had
having fun.
online where it's like just a different thing. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I'll move over to the numbers. Some exciting stuff and very unsurprising, I think. Let me know what you think, Dave, here. The
Mm-hmm.
first one, Capcom reports 8th consecutive year of record profits as Monster Hunter Wilds sells 10.1 million copies.
Nice job, Capcom. Loving it.
Capcom is on fire.
Yeah, they are. Do I own Capcom stock? I might have owned
You
Capcom
probably
stock.
should. I mean, they had this very, very weird moment in time, the PS3 era, where they just didn't know what they were doing. Between 2005 and 15, I think, there was
Mm.
confusion at Capcom. But I mean, now they are like back to being a top tier
Yeah,
publisher.
definitely. I mean, Wilds is obviously huge for them.
Yeah,
I think it comes back to what we were talking about earlier. People are just realizing they can stick to what they do. They don't have to try and make something that seems to conform to a market friendly box. They make a Monster Hunter.
and just to recap here: Dragon's Dogma, Street Fighter,
Mm-hmm.
Monster Hunter, Resident Evil. Let me know if I'm missing anything that I should be mentioning. But all these four are like franchises or products or games that are delivering high quality both gameplay and sales.
Yeah, and they haven't missed in a little bit.
Yep. And just for your information, there are upcoming. So there's an upcoming game fighting Capcom Fighting Collection 2. I hope it does have SNK 2 because that's my favorite fighting game. Onimusha 2 remaster and Switch 2 ports of Street Fighter 6, and then some other games. I'll move over to the next item here then. PlayStation full year operating income jumps 43% to 2.8 billion.
Yeah, man, good on them. And like Astrobot was huge. Obviously, people liked Astrobot, but it's not like they brought out like their top tier franchises. So yeah, that's good news. It just seems like they are kind of they won this particular console war, and the more and more games that are coming out on console, it's just more money for them because I do believe that most of this money was coming from third party sales.
Okay. I mean, are we seeing, is Sony's, let's say, platform, do we see it as gaining momentum now? I mean, obviously they have outsold the Xbox, but are they becoming a dominant platform?
Yeah, they are. They're the only they own that particular kind of console. I mean, Nintendo is doing a different thing. Nintendo is Nintendo.
Yeah.
PC is PC. Console this traditional conception of a console belongs to PlayStation.
You're talking about like the high-end console.
Yeah.
And do you think we'll see? I mean, we spoke about this. Do you think we'll see a Vita 3 or a Vita 2? I think.
Totally possible. I think it's probably a bad idea, but totally possible.
Well, why do you think it's a bad idea?
Because I just don't see the space for it in the market necessarily. Steam Deck and Steam Deck associated things, you can play your entire Steam library on there. You can play all kinds of stuff. Nintendo, you can play Nintendo games on there. PlayStation, like the thing about the Vita was like when the Switch launched, it did not have The Legend of Zelda Pocket Edition. It had The Legend of Zelda. It had their 100% flagship titles.
Got it.
And if Sony wanted to make a portable succeed, it would need to have those 100% flagship titles, and it won't.
Got it. Yeah, I think that when they tried to get the Vita to become, the thing, they tried Uncharted. They tried Tearaway, if you remember that game.
Tearaway was cool. I like Tearaway. And really? the Uncharted was a good game, but it wasn't Uncharted. I guess the next one at that time would have been 3. It wasn't Uncharted 3.
There might have been a God of War. There might have been a Metal Gear.
God of War had a PSP. I don't believe. Did they have? I don't think they had a Vita.
No, maybe not. But they did try Killzone. I think Killzone was okay-ish. But but here's the difference for me, Dave, from that time to this time. In this day and age, the explosion of indie games and the market for indie games, I think that's an opportunity, but I absolutely agree with you.
But yeah, Switch and Steam Deck are doing really good on that.
Yeah, so why would I get this one? Okay, fair enough, Dave. I'm not going to fight you on that. We're going to continue on the PlayStation banner here. PS5 ships 77.8 million units. I want to figure out...
what did PS2 do? PS2, the most successful DVD player ever sold.
So the PlayStation 5 was released in November 2020.
160, good lord.
I feel like the curve should be the same, right? Like we're on the right curve. Console sales curve. I want to see comparison here between the different consoles.
Mm-hmm.
There usually is somebody who does that. VG charts, usually. Let's see if I can get that for you, Dave. But if I ask you about... Do you think this is up to expectations? Do you think
Yeah, I think they generally are. I mean, so much of PlayStation's total lifetime sales are deeply impacted by the fact that you couldn't really buy one for 3 years, or 2 years, or a while. But yeah, I think it's on track.
This is what I wanted to show you, by the way.
Yeah.
I know what. Why is there a dip here? Wow. Seems like there's a dip.
I mean, I think most of these are seasonal dips.
Okay, now I see. Okay, we'll have to dig into that another time. I'll move over to the last item on the list. Warner Brothers failed to launch a game last quarter, resulting in 48% drop in gaming revenue.
Yeah, I think that company does have some issues. But I do always find it funny when people try to use year over year statistics to describe entertainment products. It's like, well, you made a whole lot less money than the time when you released a really successful product. It's like, okay, fine,
right?
But
I guess the only reason this is relevant is because of stock price and effects on the stock market, which is a bit unfortunate that things are managed that way.
But so the stock market is logical, and also it is
illogical.
Yeah.
It's illogically logical.
Yep.
With regards to how you drive a business. Dave, I think we've covered all
We've covered it. I'm really looking forward to recording in person very soon.
I'm looking forward to next week as well. It's going to be fun. And maybe there is more Clair Obscur talk we can do next week.
I think so. I'm
get your Clair Obscur, get your expeditions in order, Dave.
Well, I'll be bringing my laptop to Malmo, and so I will be getting some time out. Maybe I'll even bring an HDMI cable, put it on a TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Dave, thank you so much for joining us. I
Thank you.
forgot to do a thing in the beginning because here's the thing. If you remember a couple months ago or weeks ago, I was telling people to like, subscribe, and click things and do things, right? And I've noticed, and I'm not sure if this is scientific, I want to go back to it. So maybe next week I'll mention it. But I've noticed that we had a dip in viewership. And I was like, okay, is it because of that thing? Like, do I have to say this stuff every single time we start an episode? God, I hate saying it. And I think
I
it's
know.
stupid.
Yep.
But,
But
you know, if that's how the world works, maybe I should get with the times.
yeah. I mean, sometimes
Anyways,
you just have to.
yes, maybe it's too late to say it
So
now.
go
But
ahead. Go ahead. Do it.
Yeah, please help us, support us, do all the things that you need to do to, help us get bigger audience. We would really appreciate that. So the clicking, the bells, the whistles, the likes, the thumbs up, the thumbs down, I don't know. Whatever you need to click, please do click it. We really appreciate it. It helps us a long way. And
There's the electrician. I'm going to go let him in.
Okay.
All right.
I'll let you go, Dave.
Okay, I'll leave this window open here.
On my own. Guysweekly.substack.com. We really appreciate you subscribing. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.